And welcome back to another edition of the 2-Point Conversion NFL DFS podcast, your Week 8 edition. I am one of the three hosts on the show. You can find me on Twitter at BDintric. I am joined by Bucks. He's back this week from his little vacation and everything else. Find him on Twitter at BPSnow11. Bucks, how we doing?
Doing great, Bubba. Doing really well. Excited to be back and actually sweat this weekend.
Good. And as always, James, you can find him on Twitter at paydirt_DFS. James, how we doing?
Great, man. Playing with some Legos, sweating some NBA, and hoping that Anthony Davis doesn't do what Terrence Ross did to my lineups earlier. So,
you're in the same you're in the same boat I'm in. This is great. Yes, Terrence Ross dead to me.
Man, he's so bad when he's chalk, but like when he's not, he dominates. He's so annoying.
Yep. But we're here to talk some football. We got a 13-game slate on our hands. We have a game in London, a 9-game main slate. There's a lot of weirdness going on. I was telling Bucks before the podcast, there's only 2 afternoon games on Sunday. So, set up a dinner with your wife. She'll think you're special or something. I don't know. It's bad scheduling all around. But let's jump into it. You got Miami at Baltimore Thursday night. Such a barn burner in this one. Baltimore's a 3-point favorite. Total's 37.5. As I showed James last week, Bucks, you weren't here. I showed him my sheet, and I had nothing for Baltimore. It's similar again this week. But Bucks, kick us off on this one.
Yeah, this is a miserable start to the week. I mean, most Thursday night football games are. We've had a couple good ones this year so far, but this is brutal, man. This is when I looked at this game initially, just as the players looked at the defenses without knowing what the over/under was going to be. I pegged it at like 35, so it's pretty close to what I thought. I don't like Flacco. I don't think he's a good quarterback this year, and I think Miami's pass D is going to be all right. Obviously not playing anybody on the Miami side as far as QBs go. I think the only play in this entire game that I would potentially be interested in is Jay Ajayi, just because I think Baltimore sucks. They're giving up 150 yards a game against the run. I think they lean on him even more. Here's why I'm not playing him. If I played a full slate this week, there's guys that play the full slate just to sweat Thursday night. And if they play Thursday night just to play Thursday night, Jay Ajayi is the one place they're going to go. And so I don't think we have an edge there. I think he's going to be over-owned just so people have a sweat. And so that takes away any part of wanting him at all. So I am completely fading the majority of this game and moving on.
Yep. James, any thoughts on Thursday?
Not really. Bucks summed up most of it. These are 2 not good teams. We've got Joe Flacco facing off against Matt Moore, who is the better quarterback in Miami, but that doesn't really matter here. Baltimore is a much better defense at home. Miami is bad on the road. Like this is not a good game to target. The only play, I don't really like Jay Ajayi as much as Bucks does, only because I don't like taking running backs on the road in low-scoring games. I'm not really that. But the only play that I want here is Mike Wallace, if he is healthy, and if Macklin is out. Because if Macklin,
that's a couple ifs.
Like, Miami's pass defense is atrocious, and they just got rid of Byron Maxwell. Flacco sucks, but Mike Wallace can run really fast, and he can score touchdowns by really fast. So for 4K, like, I'm willing to take that home run shot if I'm going to play Thursday through Monday. I think he'll be low-owned enough, even if Macklin is out due to him being a wide receiver and not being, like, a sexy player or whatever. Like, I'll take a home run shot on that in GPPs at 5%, considering he'll be, like, 2% owned. Other than that, give me nothing. Defense is even – God, the defenses are so overpriced. I'm not paying $3,800 for the Ravens defense. So
I'd pay $3K for Miami.
I have not this. So every week when we do this, this is my first read through. I haven't looked at prices. I have not looked at matchups. I haven't looked at anything. So I don't know the prices, but even 3K for the Dolphins seems like overpaying for defenses that I assume are coming up.
I'll just put it this way, James, because I do the same thing. I look like an hour and a half beforehand. I make my list, and last week, remember how we had 3 defenses 2,600 or below? It's not that easy this week. It's not that easy. We'll see.
Why would you pay $3K for the Miami when you have the Patriots for 2,400?
I'm saying if you're playing the full week because everybody else is going to go to the weekend. Like I think a lot of people are just ignoring this slate.
That's fair.
I want nothing to do with either one of these teams. Literally, I'm going to make my 3 max tournament for my week long and have nothing in this game. I'll have completely green circles going into the weekend.
So I will say this really quick about this week specifically. This is a great week to play the Thursday through Monday slate, considering how bad the games are on the islands. This is a really good week to do that and hope that some people gravitate towards Thursday/Monday and just take advantage.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's talk about another game you can only get on the full week slate. We go to London again. Minnesota at Cleveland. Cleveland is a 9-point underdog against the Minnesota Vikings, the Case Keenum-led Minnesota Vikings. Total of 37.5 in London. This is another it's ugly. James, what do you got on this one?
Why do we keep sending these shitty games over to London?
It's like you think you want to make them happy.
Yeah, if we want to grow the NFL globally, stop sending the Browns and the Jaguars over to London. Send good teams. Send decent teams to London. Okay, rant over. I don't want any part of this game. The Vikings defense at 4K is actually not awful. If you're going to pay up for defense, you're going to take the Vikings defense. With that being said, I don't want any Case Keenum at 5,800. I mean, it's decent, but at 5,800, there's going to be better values somewhere across the slate. I'd rather just take Adam Thielen or Stephon Diggs if he practices against a really bad secondary and not hope that Case Keenum is a top 5 quarterback for the week. Who knows who the Cleveland starter is going to be, so I can't really talk about any of those quarterbacks. And even if I were to talk about a Cleveland quarterback, he'd get benched through the second quarter, and then we'd have a different quarterback. So don't play Cleveland quarterbacks. That's all I got, man. Give me the Vikings wide receivers and maybe the Vikings defense, and that's all that I want.
Yeah, I don't blame you. What about you, Bucks?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I fully agree with James that this is just ridiculous to send these type of teams over there. I think if I were to play any part of this game whatsoever, I would probably play Kyle Rudolph because I think Case Keenum is starting to build a rapport with him. Cleveland is god-awful against the tight end. I will say that as far as Thielen goes, I think that they haven't. I mean, they have been bad, but of late, I mean, it all depends on if Diggs plays, and I don't see him doing that, and so I don't see Thielen having much room to really get things going because they don't have anybody else. So I like Kyle Rudolph in this game, but again, when you're talking about a game that has a over-under of 37 and a half, I'm likely avoiding it altogether because there's better value on the board.
Yeah, there's a ton more value on the board. This is similar to if you're playing the Thursday game, you're trying to find a way to be different from everybody else. You look at Minnesota, Kyle Rudolph at 4,500, I agree. That's about the only angle you could go with. Keenum's not overpriced, but we already talked about guys earlier, Bucks, that we love that are his price or cheaper. So, yeah, I'll look elsewhere, and I'll look into the 9-game main slate, which will start now. Oakland Raiders go cross-country for an early start on the East Coast. You will not hear that narrative anywhere else all week, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
Against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo minus 2.5 favorites. Total's 45.5. Pretty hefty favorite here. And I know Bucks and I agree on something big on this game. Maybe James does too. James, lead us off.
All right, I can lead us off. Tyrod Taylor at 5,900 is, again, a pretty nice option. Oakland does not have good cornerbacks. They don't have a good secondary. I do kind of worry about Tyrod Taylor being a mobile quarterback against Khalil Mack and that really awesome guy that they just picked up from the 49ers that I can't remember the name of. But those are two good linebackers that are good at tracking the quarterback, so I kind of worry about Tyrod Taylor's actual rushing upside in this matchup. But as far as passing goes, I really like Tyrod Taylor. And I kind of have the feeling, while we're talking about the Bills, that Martavis Bryant is going to sign with the Bills. You're going to hear it here first. That's my hunch. It's going to happen because he's basically just Sammy Watkins, and they need Sammy Watkins back. So I'm going to call my shot there. Derek Carr at 6,500.
Is this a golf bet?
No, this isn't a golf bet because it's a hunch, dude. But we'll have more golf bets.
I'm trying to make it back.
Derek Carr at 6,500 on the road. No, thank you. Buffalo's pass rush has actually been better than I thought that it was going to be. So I don't really want any part of Derek Carr this week, even though he did look very, very good last week. LaShawn McCoy got a huge price bump up to 8,700 from last week, which is gross. But the Oakland defense is very bad. I don't mind 8,700 for LaShawn McCoy. He's touching the ball a stupid amount. He's touching the ball like almost as much as Le'Veon Bell or almost as much as Todd Gurley and at least as much as Kareem Hunt. So I don't mind paying for 8,700 for LaShawn McCoy at home as a decent favorite in a high-scoring game. The Oakland running backs will be Jalen Richard and Washington. Washington at 4,100 seems pretty decent to me because he gets the goal line work and he's only 4,100. I know that it's a split and that sucks, and y'all know my feelings on split backfields, but I mean, if I'm going to take a shot, it's going to be on Washington. And then with wide receivers, give me Michael Crabtree after the Amari Cooper explosion. Mm-hmm. Charles Clay, do we know that Charles Clay is going to continue to be out?
I don't know yet. He is? Okay.
I think so.
Okay, if he's going to be out, give me Nick O'Leary again because he was just fine last week.
He is listed as – oh, no, that's for the Buck. Yeah. No, that's open. Yeah, I think he's still going to be out.
He's listed out, but, I mean, I haven't heard any news on it yet. So, and then both defenses are fairly priced. I don't mind taking the Bills' defense at 2,900 at home against the Raiders. But to all up, like I like LaShawn McCoy even at 8,700, and I really, really like Michael Crabtree.
Yeah, we're on the same page. Bucks, where you at on this one?
Yeah, I think there's a couple really interesting plays here for me. I am going to play one lineup this week, and it's going to be with Tyrod. And here is why. One, I do think he has some upside with the run. I don't expect him to get 60 yards every game. But if he can get me 3 or 4 points a game running, that's huge. And he is in such a good spot this game. If there's one thing he likes to – or here's 2 things he likes to do. 1, dump it off to LaShawn McCoy. Awesome. 2, he loves throwing the deep ball, and he's actually pretty good at it. And a guy that I love this week is Thompson, who is $3,700 for the Bills. And I think he is so good at catching the deep ball because he's so damn fast. And the dude has played – so he has had 2 decent games this year, both against the Bucs. Both. And he's playing them again. And so I think that he has a chance against the Raiders' terrible secondary just to catch 6 or 7 balls, especially if Jordan Matthews is still a little banged up. And so I love Deontay Thompson at 3,700. I love LaShawn McCoy. Yes, he is expensive, but I don't know if there's a better spot this week for another running back. He is guaranteed 20 carries. He's guaranteed 4 or 5 catches. And we've been talking about him all year long, and he finally had his breakout. James talks about normalization, And finally, last week, he comes through with a couple touchdowns, so that was awesome. On the other side of the ball, I mean, I think there are a couple plays here as well. Obviously, Derek Carr is in play. Buffalo hasn't been great. I think if I had to go receiver for Oakland, I would definitely go Crabtree. A lot of people are going to be on Cooper. You're going to see inflated ownership. I'm not saying he couldn't have a good game again, but Crabtree is definitely the more viable option in my opinion. And then I am going back. I played him last week, and it didn't work out great, but I'm going back to O'Leary. I think that Tyrod, especially third and long, third and mid, I think that's a good range for O'Leary. Although I will say he caught, 2 balls last week? Both over 25 yards a pop. So, I mean, he's definitely viable. They just have to give him his opportunities. So I think he could have a really big game. And at $3,100, that's huge, huge value. So I'm definitely stacking Buffalo this week because I think honestly, I think they blow Oakland out of the water. So that's what I like.
Yeah, I don't think this game's going to be as close as people think. I don't mind the Buffalo D at 2,900 because I think a lot of people might go elsewhere. But I agree with you guys. I'm going back to the stack that one of the few stacks that worked really well for me last week. Taylor, McCoy, O'Leary. I'm not going to overthink it from there. I'll piece stuff around elsewhere. Just people need to realize how bad this Oakland defense is. And historically, they've been horrible going across country early. Horrible. So just keep that in mind. And give me all of the Tyrod, Taylor, and company. And I love McCoy. I don't know about you guys, but I was golfing on Sunday, and I was about to throw my clubs when they gave it to Tolbert on first and second down at the goal line. And then I'm hitting my shot. and the guy in my car goes, "Hey, well, let's make you feel better. Look, McCoy got the touchdown on third down." I was like, "Thank God." I was like, "Not again." But yeah. Going that direction. And I agree. Crabtree at 63. I'll keep going. I've been going to him all year. Cooper had one game. He'll have to play one more all year, and I'm not going to sit around trying to find it. So I'll go Crabtree at 63. Let's go to Indianapolis at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 10-point home favorite. Over under 41.5. This is ugly. The only thing that can make this worse would be rain. Bucks, lead us off in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think this is another blowout game here. I mean, you look at Cincinnati at 2-4, and you don't expect this to be a blowout, but I mean, it's a 10.5-point spread, and the over/under is only 41. So, expecting Cincinnati to score some points, and I believe that to be the case. I like Andy Dalton at $5,700, mainly because I really like AJ Green this week. Cincinnati's 2-4. So they have to win this game. And so they are going to put the ball in A.J. Green's hands, or at least attempt to 15 times this game, and try to shut him down. The one play that when I initially looked at this, that I really liked was Joe Mixon. But to be honest with you, Cincinnati, I don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, they were playing well against the Steelers first half last week, and then they decide not to give the running backs the ball, and they're forcing things down the field. So I have no confidence in that, and it's a committee. We talk about it all the time. They're not guaranteed any percentage. So I did like Mixon initially at $4,700, but it's no guarantee, and so I'm staying away from that. Dalton, A.J. Green, even Croft. Those are probably the only 3 plays for me in this entire game. I think there's other value out there, but I'm avoiding it.
Okay, we're pretty close on that one. James, does your guest picker have any picks, or is it all you?
What picks do you got for us in the Bengals game? Freaking cat, man. By the way, Kirk's dominant. Let's see. So the first thing that stuck out to me is actually the Colts defense at 2,300 against a team that only had 23 yards in the second half last week.
Oh, yeah.
2,300, man. Like,
and Dalton's good for a couple turnovers.
Yeah, I think that the Colts are very bad. Don't get me wrong on that. I think the Colts are bad, but I think the 2,300 for a defense. Anthony Davis questionable return Tuesday is the story of my entire freaking existence.
Are you
Colts
kidding me?
is a decent play, even on the road against a team that I don't think is very bad. I agree. Joe Mixon, there's this whole thing that Marvin Lewis apparently doesn't want Joe Mixon to want the ball. Like he's saying that he's immature for wanting to have the ball. Dude, I want to give the ball to people who want to have the ball.
Yeah.
I want to give the ball to players that are the best at their position coming out of college this year. Like I want to feed Joe Mixon. I don't know what they're going to do, though. I agree with you. They're just doing this stupid timeshare thing, and even though Mixon is the best, probably, if he's not the best player on that team, if he doesn't rival AJ Green, he's definitely the best running back on that team.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
4,700, I think that you can take a shot on Joe Mixon in tournaments, absolutely, against this Colts defense, but don't put him in your cash lineups or anything like that. The only other play that I really want here is AJ Green at 8,600. The Colts defense is not good. The cornerbacks are awful. I don't care what Cincinnati does this week as long as they feed AJ Green. That's the only thing that they need to do to win games. It's like Julio Jones. Just give him the freaking ball, and he's going to make things happen with it. Give the ball to your playmakers. I hate Marvin Lewis. That's my thoughts on this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Colts D is an interesting call. About all I like, and if I use any Colts, is Jack Doyle because he'll get fed. They're not great against a tight end. So if you want to be different, but there's other tight ends cheaper that I probably like on the slate. But yeah, Cincinnati, I was really debating a stack, but it's so hard to stomach Andy Dalton, but that might make it worth stacking if you're building at 20 lineups or something. But AJ Green, I don't mind Tyler Kroft at 3K as a nice cheaper tight end. I like him better than Doyle, actually. And then if you want to go off of AJ Green, I like Brandon LaFell as the number 2 receiver against Indy. You saw, not the number ones, but the others in Jacksonville do very, very well last weekend. And LaFell at 3,700 could bring us a lot of value in that matchup when everyone's looking to AJ Green, which I don't blame them. He should, knock on wood, be the play, but we've thought that before. So that's where I'm looking in that one. Let's go Chargers at Patriots. This will be a popular one. Patriots 7.5-point home favorites. Totals 48.5. Interesting prices across the board on this one. James, kick us off.
Keenan Allen at 7,300 is so cheap. That is so cheap for a guy who is second in the NFL in targets. Like, even if you don't think that Chargers is that good, or even if you don't think the Rivers is that good, and even if you think the Patriots defense is better than it should be, that's too cheap. So that automatically leads me to Rivers at 6,300, who is going to be ultra, ultra chalky this week. But if I really like Keenan Allen, then I kind of have to like Phillip Rivers. And I don't know, man. Phillip Rivers doesn't have home road splits because he only has 10 Chargers fans at home anyway. So it doesn't bother me to roster him on the road. His performance is not tied to home or away. He's always dealing with away crowds. Tom Brady at 7,600 is actually kind of too cheap, even against like a decent Chargers defense. 7,600 is, I think, the cheapest that he's been all season. So I might want to take the savings on that. Running backs, Melvin Gordon, 8,100, totally deserved. That is a deserved price. We've been attacking the Patriots linebacker core with receiving running backs all year. There's no reason for me to stop doing that now with Melvin Gordon. James White and Deion Lewis are now kind of splitting snaps evenly. Gillislee is still 4,200. Burkhead still exists. They've still got Devlin. They've still got Bolden. You can't touch this backfield anymore. Just don't even try. Like, people have been trying all year. People have been trying for 3 years straight. Just stay away from it, man. Like, they're all priced moderately now, so you can't even take shots. Chris Hogan at 6,500 is cheap, but he does have to face Casey Hayward, who is a very good cornerback. So I'd rather have Brandon Cooks at 6,800 and hope for a home run shot rather than a whole bunch of targets for Chris Hogan. So in this game, and Gronkowski is 7,100 and is awesome at football. So it's hard for me. I think that you can stack the Patriots in this game and go Brady with one, maybe two of his wide receivers. It's going to be interesting seeing where the ownership goes on those three wide receivers, though, and I think you want the least owned one. But for me, I really just want Keenan Allen, Brandon Cooks, and Tom Brady in this game. I don't think that I want anything else.
Yeah. What about you, Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many good options at quarterback this week. I mean, obviously Brady is Brady, so $7,600 for Brady represents pretty big value. But I think with some of the guys that I want in potentially McCoy, AJ Green, it's hard for me to pay up with Brady. But I think at $7,600, he has a fantastic opportunity to hit value there. So if you want to go that route, please do. I think he is obviously one of the safest plays out there. Phillip Rivers is interesting because, like James said, I love Keenan Allen this week. $7,300, high end slot receiver against the Patriots that really don't know what they're doing with a slot cornerback with the safety position. I think Keenan Allen has a chance to have a breakout game. So I love him. I love this spot for him this week. Typically, when you look at the snap count and the route count for Hunter Henry, I would typically like to gravitate towards him this week as well. But for $4,800, there's no way I am paying $4,800 for pretty much any tight end. Gronk at 7,100 is interesting, but again, it's $7,100. I have such a hard time paying up. I mean, for him to hit value, he has to go for 5 for 80 and a touchdown. And yeah, it's definitely possible, but I can't rely on him to score every week. So I think James touched on Melvin Gordon. Love Melvin Gordon. He touches the ball a crazy amount, and so he is always in play. He's a touchdown machine. If I were to play a couple guys in this game, it might be like Gordon, Allen, and stack those two and hope it becomes a shootout. But really my core play in this entire game is going to be Keenan Allen. And yes, James mentioned it. Don't mess with the running back situation in New England. Last week, you had the perfect setup for Gillislee to just dominate carries, run the game out, and he got minimal amount of touches. It was insane. Like, you don't know what he's going to do. Belichick's going to do any given day with the running back position. So it is officially on my avoid list from here on out.
Yeah, no, it's a mess right now. You think we thought we had it figured out early. We should have known better with Belichick. You can't figure out the running back situation in New England ever. But yeah, I like Rivers. I agree. He could be chalky, but honestly, there's a lot of guys like Tyrod and others in that lower 5, or guys that want to prep. We'll have Breeze at 7, Brady at 76. I think it might be interesting there. I love Allen at 73, and Gordon's been my guy. I preached him every week, probably the whole season. I've loved him. And coming off a horrible week last week at $8,100, I think he might go lower owned than he should. So I think it's a great spot for him. If you want to be a little different on the Chargers, we know how Belichick likes to take out the top option and like a Keenan Allen. Looking at like a Tyrell Williams at 4,800 could be a very interesting play right there. I like that quite a bit because everyone knows how great Keenan is, and we'll see him get double teamed or the best guys on him. I have no problem taking a chance on Tyrell at 4,800, but then Brady at 76, too ridiculously cheap. Gotta love that. And Hogan, I don't even hate Gronk just because he can meet that value. He's one of the few that can. But I'm actually gonna I think everyone's going to flock to New England and maybe a little Chargers, but more New England in this game. So I'm going to stay with my Chargers. They've been a good stack most of the year, and if it's a blowout, Rivers will keep throwing it even after 2 picks. So you're not worried about that kind of stuff. Let's go to that Breeze game. Chicago Bears are big defense that I'm not using this week, James. At the New Orleans Saints. Saints 9-point home favorites, over under 48. This could get ugly. Bucks, take us away on this one.
Yeah, so there's this. Well, first, let me mention that I think I read that Trubisky, the last 2 games, has completed 4 total passes to wide receivers.
Last game. It was just last game. It was just last game. Like, it's still like a funny stat. Like,
no, but it's 4 because the game before he completed 0 to wide receivers.
Yeah, to wide receivers.
Yeah, he uses his tight ends and his running backs. That's it.
Yeah, and Jordan Howard's snap count since Trubisky has gone from like 47% to 90%.
Yep.
And so, with that being said, I think if I were to play anybody in this game, I'm going straight to the running back position. I think they have to lean on Howard, number one. And he has been catching the ball now, which is awesome. And so at $6,800, I think he's going to touch the ball 20-plus times. So I might go there. But for $600 more, I can get Mark Ingram, who should be playing from ahead, so he should touch the ball a bunch. And if they get the opportunities that they should get, I think he can score a couple touchdowns again. And so I love Ingram at $7,400. I think he has started to become one of those top-tier backs. And I honestly think that in a couple weeks he's going to be mid-8,000s. And so I like Ingram again this week. I'm not a fan of pretty much any of the wide receiver plays this week just because of game flow. I'm not a fan of any of the tight ends this week. If I had to play a defense, I'm definitely playing the Saints. They put up points, and Trubisky sucks, and so I might play them.
Yep. James, what are you thinking?
So just so that I can get this straight, you said you're not playing the Bears defense this week.
Not this week.
I'm not playing them any week.
Okay, well last
week we were all
they
over
30 fantasy points.
They were money left.
It is insane.
And this week they get to face a team that gave up 2 defensive touchdowns 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yes.
All I'm saying is I think that they run the ball more than anything.
Let me get this straight. You don't want to pay $2,500 for a defense that put up 30 fantasy points last week and could potentially put up another 20 fantasy points this week.
No,
I'd rather pay 24 for New England.
I think the Patriots have a better chance to score more points this week.
All right,
and I have one more 2,200.
I will bet you both golf bets that the Bears defense outscores any other defense at their price or below.
All right, sure.
Okay.
Sounds
I'll take
awesome.
All right, sounds fantastic. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So I'm going to go all in on the Bears defense again. They're going up against the Saints. They gave up 2 defensive touchdowns 2 weeks ago. This Bears defense is legit, guys. This isn't like a fluky thing. They've been really, really good for 4 weeks. You can look back to it. They've been really good for this middle part of the season. And they have a great front seven. They have a great linebacker group. They have decent enough cornerbacks. Just copy and paste everything that I said last week and put it onto this week. I like the Bears defense. On the other side, Mitchell Trubisky has completed 4 passes to wide receivers over the last 2 games. So, I don't want Mitchell Trubisky at 4,600, even though I think he's better than John Fox is utilizing him. His talent is way better than what John Fox knows how to utilize. So, as soon as John Fox gets fired, give me all the Trubisky. But until then, you can't touch him. Well, you can't. He's going to complete 4 passes to wide receivers. Who are you going to stack him with? at all the skill positions, Michael Thomas at 7,600 is still a pretty good buy. Last week ran super bad with him last week, not getting a touchdown in those red zone trips. That was tilting. I agree with Mark Ingram. 7,400 is a really good price for a back that is going to touch the ball 20 plus times. Same thing with Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard and Mark Ingram, I think that you could use both running backs in this game. And do well because they're both going to be touching the ball enough times to pay off value, and it'll be a contrarian stat to do that. Alvin Kamara at 5,900 is maybe a little bit too rich for my blood, but he's basically Christian McCaffrey in this offense, and he's been utilized really well. So 5,900 is maybe getting a little bit too expensive, but I think he's still in play in tournaments. Other than that, nothing really. I really want the running backs and the Bears defense in this game. You can take a shot on Ted Ginn Jr. at 4,700, who has been crushing this year.
Yeah, he's been awesome, man.
I think that's not a bad play. But yeah, just the running backs and the Bears defense for me.
Yeah, Howard at 6,800, great play. I'll go back to that well again, echoing everything you guys said. I don't mind Breeze at 7,000. I think he's the chalk, though. I think he's going to be super high owned at that price range. Ingram at 74, I love. I had a lot of Ingram and Howard lineups last week. I'll do it all over again. I have no problem with that at all. And then Ted Ginn at 47. That was the other guy I had written down. Just for the value alone, they keep going his way. Cooks is getting like double teamed or something. I haven't watched any Saints games that close, but Ginn's getting a ton of targets. Yeah. And then if I'm paying up for a defense, the Saints at 3,400, I don't mind at all as some upside. I'm sorry. I was all about the Bears last week with you. I can't do it this week. I wrote down my two for later on. We'll get to that later, but I got to decide which one of the two. But we'll stick with that for this game, and we'll head to New York, Atlanta, off of that just ugly offensive performance in New England at the Jets. Jets 4.5-point home underdogs, but the total's 46.5. And James, you turned me on to the Jets offense last week, and I stacked them, and it was beautiful. And I'm not going to give everything away. I'll let you guys talk, but I am all in on another Jets stack this week. James, do your happy dance and lead us off.
Yeah, the Jets are actually a pretty good team this year, and it's hilarious. Josh McCown is a competent quarterback. Tried saying that in the beginning of the year. Everybody laughed at me. But 5,600 is a pretty good price for him up against his Atlanta team that is really not that great. Like, they have good pass rushers, and that's the only thing that worries me about McCown. But at 5,600, I think that he's a pretty decent QB for this spot. Matt Ryan at 6,800 is overpriced. As long as Sarkisian, or however the hell you pronounce that dude's name, does not want to throw to Julio Jones, Matt Ryan will be way, way overpriced. Because this offense can't run without utilizing its best players. So I don't want any part of the Falcons' offense, especially after last week. There's no way I'm going back to them. They refuse to use Julio Jones. I'm not doing it. Position players, let's see. Julio Jones is 8,400, which is cheap, but not cheap enough for him to only get like 8 targets. Devontae Freeman at 7,200 is better, I suppose, but it's on the road, and it's usually a Tevin Coleman game when they are on the road. At 5,000, I think I'd rather have Tevin Coleman. The Jets' passing defense has actually been pretty good this year, so I don't think that I really want to go to Mohamed Sanu, even though he is getting plenty of targets. At 4,900, I can see going there, but I wouldn't expect him to have a super high ceiling considering how good the Jets have actually been against the pass. Safarian Jenkins at 4,900 is fine, I think. I mean, it's not bad. It's definitely not a bargain, but he is the best playmaker on that team. He's the biggest target in the red zone. He's going to get his looks. He's basically Gronk for McCown. Like, he is that big safety blanket they're going to go to over the middle, and I don't mind taking him at 4,900. I think that is a fair price. And then the defenses, the Jets are only 2,200. Good Lord, the Jets are only 2,200.
That's who you're losing to.
Come on, DraftKings. Oh, man. Okay, yeah, Jets at 2,200, definitely in play. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so yeah, I want McCown and I want ASJ and I want the Jets defense. I'm not touching the Falcons.
Fair enough. Bucks, what do you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm not touching the Falcons. I think, like James mentioned, Matt Ryan's overpriced. I can't trust Julio at all. One of these weeks, they're gonna wake up and he's gonna have a breakout game, but I can't trust it, especially when I like some other options right around his price point. AJ Green. So I think Josh McCown is at 5,600 is awesome. He does really well with his mediocre receiving core. He loves Curly. He loves Curse. He loves throwing it to Anderson. I mean, Anderson's getting a ton of targets. So, and he loves throwing it to his running backs. And so I think for me, I do like McCown this week. I do like Robbie Anderson at 4,200. I like Safarian Jenkins because I think he is that safety blanket and he's going to get 8 targets. But at $4,900, I think there's better tight end value. So I'm avoiding that. From a running back perspective, I really, really, really like Matt Forte this week. Only because of his price. He's $4,200. The dude has gotten a ton of catches over the past 3 or 4 weeks. He is splitting carries almost like at a 50% clip. But at $4,200, if he can get 10 carries and catch 5 balls, I think he has a chance to score this game. And so $4,200, I think you can do worse, especially if you're paying up at receiver, especially if you decide to pay up at quarterback, something like that. So I really like Forte this week. I think Powell at 4,800 is overpriced, with better production coming with Matt Forte. And again, like James mentioned, Jets D at $2,200 is definitely in play.
Yep. The Jets D was the one I wrote down when James made the challenge because I had that circled coming up to this game. So that is my $2,200 defense yet again. I'm all over that.
Free golf, baby. Free golf, baby.
Yep. I, as a Dolphins fan, will be rooting for the Jets on Sunday. Yes, just remember that. But yeah, Josh McCown at 56. With ASJ, I don't have a problem at 49 because the savings we're getting with the rest of the Jets team, I can afford to pay a little more for the tight end. And then I like Curse at 48. I love what Anderson has. He keeps targeting them. It's just nothing consistent to me. Curse gets his looks, and he gets his end zone looks, and that's what I'm going to keep going to. But if you just want to go McCown and ASJ, that's fine. I get the Forte love. I just can't trust. They were using all 3 backs on Sunday, and it was all over the place. He throws to all 3 of them, so for 42, he can definitely get value pretty easily. So I get it. I just can't go there. The only thing I'm worried about is all of us agree not to use the Falcons. I'm wondering, I know it's Tuesday, we usually record on Wednesday, how much of a sentiment is that going to be? You can actually get these guys so cheap. Like, we know the talent's there, even though it's looked horrible, and I'm not, like, if you're only making a couple lineups, I don't want to go there. But there's something about those prices. Like, you can get Tevin Coleman, who loves on the road, catching balls out of the backfield for $5K. Sanu at 49. There's stuff to like there. I have to see how that plays out the rest of the week. But for me right now, it's the Jets, like we talked about.
I think there's better value at lower price points.
No, there very well could be. I just get worried because I watched a horrific Dolphins offense score 4 touchdowns last week with Matt Moore leading 2 drives. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But let's go to an interesting one. For some reason, if you guys have it, let me know. I don't have any lines for the Niners at Philadelphia game. I know it's because they played Monday night, but that should be out by now. And somehow I didn't have them where I was looking. But interesting game. Carson Wentz is up to $7,200. And honestly, I'm okay with that. So, Bucks, lead us off with the Niners at the Eagles, where this could be just a bloodbath.
Yeah, I'm seeing Eagles 13-point favorites, over under 47. So
yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I'd really like to just shit on Carson Wentz and the Eagles right now, but I can't because they look good. And it's so disappointing to say that, but it is what it is. This is like a crazy good spot for Wentz. I mean, he's been phenomenal all year long, and he is about to go up against one of the worst pass Ds in the entire league. So another great spot for him at $7,200. He's pricey, but well worth it, in my opinion. I do think he's going to be just super, super chalky, though. I mean, ridiculously chalky. The one play that I wrote down when I looked at this earlier that I really, really, really like with that spread game flow theory is LeGarrette Blount. I think he has the opportunity in this game to just go freaking bananas. I mean, they're going to be in the red zone all freaking game. They may have more plays inside the 10-yard lines than the Chiefs all season in one game. And I think LeGarrette Blount is this is like a multi-touchdown game for him. So I love him. I mean, I think Alshon, I think Aguilar have a huge opportunity here. The one guy that I like on the opposite side of the ball is Goodwin. He is going to be in play because I think there's garbage time. And he's been getting a ton of targets. All he has to do is catch one ball to hit value. I mean, it's $3,900. And I think the core focus is going to be on Garcon. The core focus is going to be on some of those other guys, which leaves Goodwin to get kind of like a garbage time 50-yard touchdown. So I like Goodwin at $3,900, and I love LeGarrette Blount.
Okay. What about you, James?
LeGarrette Blount, baby. It's in the same spot as Zeke was last week. And we told everybody, just play Zeke. Like, do not fade Zeke. The 49ers, although they have talent, cannot stop the run. They just can't. Like, as soon as they get into the red zone, that defense just turns into jello, dude. Like, anybody can run through it. LeGarrette Blount at 5,100. I wish that he was like 4,500. I wish that he was mid 4K because it would make things a little bit easier for me. But at 5,100, man, yeah, I love LeGarrette Blount, and it's a great pivot away from Carson Wentz, who will be the mega chalk this week against the 49ers. Because, and I understand, like, they're both good plays. Like, Carson Wentz is a good play because he's a very good quarterback going up against a very bad defense. Cool. But LeGarrette Blount at 5,100 has been one of the most efficient backs in the NFL this year when he gets carries. And he'll continue to be efficient even in the red zone. 5,100, I think that he is a good opportunity for a multi-touchdown game, just like Bubba, just like I said last week, that this is a very nice chance for a multi-touchdown game like Zeke had. Not the yardage, obviously, not the same usage, but it does have multi-touchdown upside, and I don't mind going there at 5,100.
No, I think it's great.
Yeah. The other plays that I like are the home run shots, Marquise Goodwin and Torrey Smith. I've already seen quite a few people talk about Nelson Aguilar this week, and I think that that's fine play as well, more towards like the cash game side of things. But I really like Marquise Goodwin, and I really like Torrey Smith. I think this is a really good week for GPPs because there's so many like cheapish home run shots that you can take that are away from the chalk. And I just kind of want to gravitate towards those spots, especially if I want to stack the Patriots. I got to have these cheap home run shots in order to be able to afford them. So I really like Torrey Smith. I really like Marquise Goodwin. And then Zach Ertz at 7K. Ertz has been the best tight end in the league for fantasy this year. And it was kind of like assured that it was going to happen. Like it made sense that it was going to happen. But at 6,700, Alshon Jeffrey has seen every good shutdown cornerback in the league and now gets the 49ers defense.
Yep.
And I think more people are on Aguilar. And if I can get Alshon Jeffrey at lower ownership, I'll take my shot there.
Oh, 100%,
He is the best wide receiver on that team, and I really like him at 6,700. All that being said, I really like LeGarrette Blount. I really like the cheap home run plays. And the Eagles at 3,800 will be super popular, so I don't think that I'll play them, but they're not a bad cash game defense by any means.
Yeah. The Eagles, it's almost like we said with the Cowboys last week, just play all the Eagles in whatever fashion you want, especially in cash games, and things will be okay. That's what we pretty much said by the end of our discussion on the Cowboys last week. Just play them all. No problem with Wentz at all. I like Aguilar or Jeffrey, depends on what salary you have left. If you want to follow fan share and see what the ownerships are, I like them both. Aguilar's been getting consistent red zone looks. That's the only difference I have with Jeffrey, but you guys bring up the point about facing top end corners all day, so that could change everything. I don't mind Blunt at all, but I'm also looking at Wendell Smallwood at $4,900 because he's going to get a lot of dump offs even in the first half, and if somehow the game stays close, he could be in for a huge game at $4,900. We saw how Zeke caught balls out of the backfield just fine, ran. It could be a Smallwood at 49, so I don't hate that either. The Niners, yeah, pick your whatever you want, whatever poison you want. I'll go elsewhere, but I don't mind it. I get it. They're gonna have to throw a lot, so if you want to target a receiver, knock yourself out. But Wentz is legit. That's the moral of the story here. Carolina at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 2.5-point home favorites. Over under 44.5. And I am terrified that I am loving Cam Newton and company. James, where are you at on this one?
Yeah, I mean, Cam Newton looked really, really bad last week. But, I mean, at the end of the day, his counting stats weren't awful. The Bears' defense is just really, really good. He still had over 200 yards passing. The Bears' defense, like, those two defensive touchdowns, it is what it is. Like, they are freak things that happen with a good defense that is able to find that ball. So I can't really, like, put Cam Newton down too far. He did do things well when those occurrences didn't happen. So 6,600 against this Tampa Bay defense. I think that it was last year, it might have been 2 years ago, where he put up a huge game. I mean, like 5 passing touchdowns against the Tampa Bay defense. And him and Winston usually go at it as like these kind of younger, very egotistical quarterbacks. So I really like a game stack here. 6,600 for Newton is good. 6,100 for Winston is good. Neither one of these defenses scare me much at all. The position players, Mike Evans at 7,900 is a really nice play. Even with O.J. Howard getting those 2 touchdowns last week, Mike Evans is still the alpha dog here. And Carolina hasn't shown the ability to take out wide receiver ones this year by any means. Kelvin Benjamin at 6,400 and Devin Funchess at 5,900. For some reason, Funchess is cheaper than Kelvin Benjamin still, which doesn't make any sense to me considering how much better Funchess has been this year. Sandwich in between them, Christian McCaffrey at 6,200 is a totally fair price. Tampa Bay is not very good at defending running backs coming out of the backfield without their main linebackers. If Quan Alexander is back, worries me a little bit, but Christian McCaffrey is getting so many catches that I don't think that I care. I mean, he's a full-blown wide receiver at 6,200 against a bad Tampa Bay Bucs defense. So I like Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if I'll go there considering how much more I like Jordan Howard and Mark Ingram and LeGarrette Blount. Like, I just don't know if I have the room for Christian McCaffrey, but I don't hate him as a play. Deshaun Jackson is 5,100. His price keeps going down, and I don't know why. He's been good this year. People just aren't rostering him. And then at 5,400, Doug Martin is a really nice play for me, I think, because he will get the volume, and Luke Kuechly is not going to play this game. He's still going to be out in concussion protocol. So 5,400 for a very talented running back at home against a defense that we just saw got eaten alive by Jordan Howard and the rest of the running backs on the Bears. If Carolina can't put points up against this Tampa Bay defense, Doug Martin is going to have a field day, and I think I might want some of that.
Yeah, that'll be very, very interesting. Bucks, what do you have on this one? Because I agree, a game stack is definitely a play here.
Yeah, I think this is one of the more interesting games on the entire slate for me, to be honest with you. I mean, I love the spot that Mike Evans is in. I think that he is due to have just a freaking monster game. So I really like him. I really like Deshaun. I do like Funchess as well. I am going to be playing Mike Evans this week, and so I really like that play. I am not a McCaffrey fan, mainly because I don't even know why, honestly. I think he catches a ton of balls. I can't get behind a running back that relies on all of his points. Like, he just doesn't get the touchdown opportunities that I need at $6,200 when I know that there's other guys on the board like LeGarrette Blount, like Doug Martin, cheaper, that should get goal line opportunities. And he's not going to see that. And can we talk about how bad the Panthers are this year, how good they have been over the last few years potentially, and the usage of Jonathan Stewart? Jonathan Stewart was like a serviceable back over the last couple of years, and he's just brutal right now. He's getting like max 12 carries a game. It's just insane to me. And you're putting that pressure on Cam, who has not looked great for the most part of this season. So I think if they want to do something, I think they're going to have to pick up the run game this year at some point in time. And McCaffrey looks awful running the ball, by the way. Awful. He catches the ball so well. I mean, he's on pace for 100 catches this year. It's insane. But he is such a bad runner right now. So they're going to have to get going with Stewart sometime. It's not this game. I do like Doug Martin as a play, but again, there's other options like Blunt that I'm leaning towards. Mike Evans is really the only play here for me. Even looking at like the defenses, I'm not into them.
Yeah, I see a lot of passing in this game. That's what I'm looking at. I love Newton at 66. He started out really bad against that great Bears defense, and then he got it going in the end. He used his legs. He ran one in, I think, threw one. I have no problem with Funchess at 59. I don't mind Benjamin, but Funchess at 59, you get basically the same guy without the top defender. Winston at 61, he's actually looked pretty good the last few weeks. I hate saying that, but he has looked decent. Evans at 79 is great. That's a great pivot off of some of those 8K guys we've been talking about, like Julio and company. Great pivot off of that. And I really, really like Cameron Brate at $4,500. If you're paying up a tight end, I think he's phenomenal. Winston has just locked eyes on him in the red zone. He's a touchdown machine this year down there. I think Brate at 45 is very, very good in this matchup. It seems like we all feel there's going to be a lot of offense going up and down the field, so there's going to be scoring chances. And Brate, I think he'll definitely get his chance. He's kind of like the new Tyler Eifert to me. He's going to get his love in the red zone. So I think the receivers are in play. You got a lot of guys in the 5s and 6 range, and the quarterbacks in the 6s. So a lot of value for a potential, kind of shootout in this one. Something to keep in mind when you're building.
You want to hear a fun stat about Winston? And maybe you guys heard this, but he's had 7 games in his career so far of 350 yards passing and 3 touchdowns.
When he gets in the zone, he's ridiculous.
They're 0-7 in those 7 games.
Because he has to throw like crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder. I'd love to go back and look at those. Was it like his turnovers that created the big gap in score, or what was it? Because I
don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. But he has those games where he just looks great, and then you're all aboard the train the next week and just derails it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to one of the 2 afternoon games, at least on the West Coast. Houston at Seattle. Seattle 5.5-point home favorites. A total of 45.5 in this matchup. Both teams have decent defenses, but somewhat explosive offenses. One of Watson's toughest tests he's had to date. Bucks, kick us off in this one.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm fading pretty much all of Houston. I don't like Deshaun Watson this game. I think that the Seahawks. This is going to be his biggest test of the year, I think. I really think that Will Fuller is probably going to be a fairly high-owned player this week, and I don't think he should be. I think he's going to get shut down, so I'm fading all of Houston in this game. On the other side of the ball, though, Russell Wilson, man, he looks awesome. I think he's finished like top 10 quarterback like 4 of the last 5 weeks or something like that. I mean, he looks really, really good. And I think at $6,500, there's so many other quarterbacks around that I think that he will go a little under-owned this week. And I really like that play. I do like Jimmy Graham. $4,600 is a lot, but I do like him this week. And I love Doug Baldwin, man. If I'm going to stack this game, I'm going to Russell Wilson, Doug Baldwin, and likely Jimmy Graham. And then if you look at the defense, $3,200 I think is really big value for a team that I think has looked better than they actually are. I think Deshaun Watson could just derail this game. So I like Seahawks at $3,200.
Yeah, I don't hate any of that. The Russell Wilson thing that's interesting is everyone says that every year. He starts out so bad. He's a horrible guy, but he always does this every year. After about 4, 5, 6 weeks or whatever, he turns it on and becomes the Russell, like gets you into the playoffs and fantasy gold. James, what's your take on this game?
I think it's going to be a barn burner. I don't think there's going to be very many points scored. Both of these defenses are good, even with the Texans missing a lot of pieces. Russell Wilson is much better at home. I don't think that I hate a Russell Wilson to Doug Baldwin stack. Doug Baldwin should be priced up with at least Keenan Allen. I mean, he should be high.
At least.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't mind Doug Baldwin. I think you're getting a discount on him. But I want to go elsewhere. I don't really – Deshaun Watson will have a little bit of a meltdown this game. I agree with Bucks. It's very, very hard to play in Seattle, especially as a rookie. Pete Carroll is a good coach. It's hard to play in that environment. So I don't really want any Houston, and I don't really want any Seattle. I could see going Doug Baldwin, but other than that, it's really just the Seattle Seahawks defense for me.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot, like you said, for a rookie quarterback in Seattle. You're looking at a Seattle team that defensively, they've played really, really well of late. 7 points against the Giants, 10 against the Rams, 18 against the Indy's not great, but like 9 against the Niners. He kept an Aaron Rodgers team in Green Bay to 17. Outside of the Tennessee game, they played really good. So it's 5 or 6 games of under 20 points. That's really, really – that's like Tampa Bay back in the day defense stuff. That's really, really good defense, and we don't talk about them like we used to. I know I played an IDP league, and I have like 3 of the guys that start on defense, and they dominate every week. So they're doing stuff. I have no problem with their defense at 3,200. I think they'll go overlooked because everyone's in love with Deshaun, and I get it. The kid is great. He's really, really, really good. This just isn't the week to do it. If he does it, he's winning a GPP for someone. Let's just put it that way. It's just how it's going to go. I love the Russell Wilson to Doug Baldwin stack. I'm all about that. I don't even mind Jimmy Graham, but really all I want is some Wilson to Baldwin, and I'll build elsewhere. But the value's way too nice there for me. There we go. This is one Bucks is going to love. Dallas at Washington. Bucks. What do you got?
Yeah, this is really tough for me because typically in this spot, if you look at the spread, Dallas favored by 2. You look at the over/under 50 points. I would say typically hammer the under. I would typically hammer the Redskins in this game. But the Redskins are so banged up. I mean, their O-line is hurting bad. I think their top 3 offensive linemen got hurt. Obviously, Norman's hurt. Rashad Breeland's injured. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And so I love Kirk Cousins this week. He hasn't had a single week this year outside of the top 10 in fantasy points for a single week. So I think he has to put up big numbers this week to keep up. And they are not utilizing their running backs And so I love Kirk Cousins this week. I am likely playing him naked because I don't know where they're going outside of I think that a lot of people this week gravitate towards Reed, but I think Vernon Davis looks better than Reed. I think that if I'm going to play any wide receiver this week, I'm playing Josh Dotson. I haven't even looked at his price.
He's $3,900.
$3,900 for a guy that's uber talented, who was just told that he was drafted to be the number one receiver, and they're going to try to do more to get him the ball. So $3,900 in a pass-happy offense in a game that the over-under is 50 points. I'm going to play that likely with Kirk Cousins. On the Dallas side of the ball, I think they somewhat shut down Ezekiel Elliott, and by shut down, I think that means like 90 yards and a touchdown shutdown, which is miserable to say. But I really like Jason Witten this week, and I think he's the slowest person on the entire planet. But Dak Prescott is a smart quarterback, and the Redskins are god-awful against the tight end, and they're banged up even more than they were before. And I think that they focus on Dez and shutting him down. I think Breeland, even banged up, is decent, and I think Cole Beasley and Jason Witten just shred the Redskins. And I'd like to say this is a close game, but I do think that Dallas hammers them.
It definitely has a game stackable nature to it to end the main slate. James, what are your thoughts on this game?
So we have Dallas, who played on the West Coast against the 49ers, who are the worst defense in the league, now having to travel all the way east the next week. So 2 road games in a row, traveling all the way across the East Coast to play a defense that is not off. That's good. I'll take the under on the game. I will definitely take the under on 50 points. I think that Dak Prescott being priced $300 cheaper than Tom Brady is insulting to the best quarterback that's ever lived. First off, he should not be $7,300 if Tom Brady is going to be $7,600 and Drew Brees is going to be $7K. Like, I will not be paying for Dak Prescott this week whatsoever.
He's not $1,000 better than Kirk Cousins either.
No, he's not. I was going to say that. He's not that much better than the quarterback that's on the other team either. So I don't want any Dak Prescott. Ezekiel Elliott at 9,200 is appropriately priced, but like I just said, I want to take the under on this game. I think that the Washington Redskins defense is at least top half of the league good, at the very least. Rashad Breeland is a good corner when he is allowed to be the number one corner. So if I think that the Redskins are a good defense and can hold Ezekiel Elliott and that Rashad Breeland is going to shut down Des Bryant on the outside, then yeah, I want to take the under. I like Jason Witten the most on the Cowboys. I agree with you, Bucks. I think that's a good, safe play. I think that's good cash game play. He should probably get a touchdown this week. We need to talk about Chris Thompson really quick.
Yes, sir.
At 5,800. I have one question. Why is he not the only running back in that backfield at all times? He leads the team in both rushing and receiving yards. He's basically David frickin' Johnson, but they only use him 30% of the time.
Yep.
So I can't pay $5,800 for David frickin' Johnson 30% of the time. Like, I can't do it. So
why can you pay 62 for McCaffrey when you can pay 58 or whatever for Thompson?
Well, I don't playing McCaffrey either. Like, and I don't know, man. Chris Thompson is better than Christian McCaffrey. And if I agree. If I said that I think that Christian McCaffrey is an okay play at 6,200, yeah, I have to like Christian Thompson at 5,800 as well. But it doesn't mean that I'm in love with either one of them. I think the only plays here for me are Jason Witten and Josh Doxson. I think Josh Doxson at 5,900 or 3,900 is a good enough price that even if they spread it out a bunch, you can still get Josh Doxson to get 6 to 8 targets and some red zone opportunities like they love to give to him. So, yeah, and then the Redskins defense at 2,400 is in play for me.
Yes, it is. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. Hear me out on this one. So I like Kirk Cousins quite a bit at $6,400. I really do. But I think a lot of people will as well when they see the totals and everything involved. I think I'm going to stay away. I'd rather go to 6,500 to Russell or 66 to Cam.
Well, that's why I said play him naked. Or, that's why I said you can play him naked or just avoid him altogether because of the price.
Yeah, because I think he's a great, potentially a great play. I just think chalk-wise could be scary. I do love Doxson. I have him at 3,900. Thompson at 58. And then I like the point that you brought up with Vernon Davis. He's $3,700. He's $1,000 cheaper than Jordan Reed. And he's getting almost more love, it seems like, at times in that offense. I don't hate that at all for a cheaper tight end.
And he's at home in front of his home family crowd. They love playing him at home.
Yeah, I love that. Let's go to Sunday night. Pittsburgh at the Detroit Lions. Lions 3-point home dogs. Totals 45 in this matchup. James, kick us away in Detroit.
So last week I said that the Pittsburgh Steelers explosion was coming. And did well last week. It was almost there. Ben Roethlisberger looked much better. I'm going back to the well on that again. And this game is actually one of the main reasons why I will have the majority of my exposure on Thursday through Monday, because I want exposure to a Steelers back, and I definitely want exposure to Martavis Bryant at 3,800. Martavis Bryant at 3,800 is the home run shot of home run shots. He only got me 1 point last week. I had him 100% on FanDuel. I literally chased overlay on FanDuel and played Martavis Bryant 100%, only got 1 point, and I'm going back to it at 3,800. I don't care. Ben Roethlisberger and Matthew Stafford are both only 6K, which are very, very nice prices. This game screams shooting for me. Especially so much faster at home. I think that you could have a 0 up until this point and just stack this game and still come away with enough upside to win a GPP. I really do. This is the reason why you play the Thursday through Monday slate, so you can get this game and stack this game and then just have Denver, Kansas City left to go. I love every play in this game besides the tight ends, and even then I'm okay with Ebron. I'm just going to say that. I think that the quarterbacks are in play at 6K. Lev Bell is in play at 9,300. Amir Abdullah is in at 4,200. Antonio Brown, Marvin Jones Jr., Kenny Golladay, Eli Rogers, Martavis Bryant. Just give me anybody in this game. I love this game.
Eli Rogers.
I go Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju.
Yeah. And Juju. Everybody. Freaking Aberdaris. I don't even know how to pronounce his name.
I want Fells at tight end.
This is the game.
I do like. Here's the reason. Only reason I like Martavius this week is all of this noise. I think Tomlin wants to shut it up so bad. He's going to go there early and often this week to shut it up. And Juju is in concussion protocol, so he's not quite there yet. But how in the hell is Antonio Brown only $8,800?
That's ridiculous.
Dude.
He should be. If you're playing that full slate, you need to play him. You have to. So I really like. If I like Martavius, if I like Le'Veon, if I like Antonio, I have to play Roethlisberger and get all of the points, all of them. That being said, I really do like Stafford at home. You're absolutely right. He's a different quarterback at home than on the road.
Yep.
I really like Theo Riddick this game. So I would probably stack Stafford and Riddick And if I had to choose one, I would probably go with Galladay. If he's not injured, I haven't checked lately. But then again, or additionally, we talked one of the biggest breakout players that people talked about this year was going to be Eric Ebron, and we have yet to see that. So at some point in time, he's going to break out. I think you're right. This is potentially a good spot for that. Steelers seem to be pretty susceptible up the seam. So I think if it is a shootout, they're going to have to go there. And so I dig it. I don't like any of the defenses because I do think it's a shootout. But, yeah, I mean, if I'm playing full slate, which I am, I think this week, a single entry, the $100 single entry, I'm going to be stacking the Steelers with James.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. I think the prices are ridiculous. Like Ben at $6K in this game. Like you said, AB at 88. I hope Juju clears concussion because I've been using him like the last 3 weeks now, and he's been productive. But this is the highest price he's been now, so it's creeping up.
Did you watch that game this past weekend?
When they played hide and seek?
Did you see his catch, though?
I saw the highlight, yeah.
He didn't have a person within 25 yards of him.
He's talented. I was kidding. Hey, and the thing with Bryant, I want to ask about Martavius. We all thought last week after he bitched and complained that this would be his week, and then he goes and steals Juju's bike, at least allegedly stole Juju's bike, in my opinion, stole Juju's bike. Do we really think that's happening, or are they going to – I just don't – I don't see it. Like, when Brown and Bell get pissed, they get love. They're not going to take away love from those two to make Bryant happy.
I think it comes down to Tomlin, honestly, because I think he's avoided the situation – and he's finally being pestered about it, and he wants it to go away. That's the only reason I see Martavius kind of being in that mix. I mean, if Juju plays, then I don't see him. Here's the thing. Juju has outsnapped Martavius the last 3 games, but Martavius is still out-targeted Juju. He's just done nothing with him. And so he's getting the targets still. He's still at 15% of the target share, which is high for a third receiver.
It's very high. Yeah.
But he's just done nothing with it. So if that goes up at all, it's just a matter of time before he catches one.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So I got to say that Martavis Bryant, I'm not on him because I think that there's like some narrative. I'm on him because
$3,900.
Yeah, he's 3,800. We know what he can do, and this game screams shootout to me. If I'm going to buy into any of the narrative, it's because I think that no team that has playoff aspirations wants to look this broken. No team wants to look this broken. And from a locker room point of view, like, Antonio Brown has got to be going up to Roethlisberger like, yo, we got to get Martavis Bryant involved. And Tomlin is telling Ben, we got to get – and he's still throwing them to him. It just hasn't converted yet. So one of these days, normalization is going to happen, and he's the 50-yard bombs. Like it, and this week just screams that for me. Like, I might lock him again. I might just keep locking him every week until it happens or until he gets traded, and then I'll just lock him on the new team because he's.
They might throw it to him 9 times, hoping he catches 5 for $120 and a touchdown to get a first-round pick out of the Bills.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. All right, so yeah, Ben, Bell, all of them. I don't mind Jesse James even at 2,800. The Lions are really, really bad against the tight end, so this could be a cheaper piece of the pie. And then on the Detroit side, I agree that this game reminds me kind of that Oakland-Kansas City primetime game we got a few weeks ago. Both teams are going to eat. It's just going to go back and forth, I think. So Stafford at home is $6K. I don't mind Tate or Jones or Galladay. Pick your poison. It just depends on value, what you're looking for. But Tate's getting his, and that's going to keep happening, I think. But, yeah, should be a good one. Let's go to Monday night. Monday night, Denver at Kansas City. Kansas City 7.5-point home favorites. Totals 43.5. Alex Smith primetime show is back on your TV. I know how much Bucks likes them, so Bucks, why don't you let us know about it?
Dude, this Kansas City team, I still think is overrated. I mean, I think, dude, it's just crazy. So I think, and I was mentioning this earlier, I don't think it was live, but they've run 18 plays inside the 10-yard line all year. Kareem Hunt has, I think, only 4 carries inside the 5-yard line. I mean, all of their scoring opportunities are coming from deep threats, like making something happen, which is great, awesome. But for a team that needs to make a playoff run, they have to get in the red zone to make the most of those opportunities, and they don't seem to have those opportunities a ton. With that being said, I don't think Denver is a very good football team right now. I just think they just don't look like they're playing as a team. And Kansas City's defense is pretty damn good. So I think Kansas City wins this game. I think they can put up points. If I had to go somewhere, I'm likely not going to Kareem Hunt at 7,500 yards. I'm likely not playing C.J. Anderson at 5,700. If I had to play any receiver, I would play Tyreek Hill just because his upside. I mean, I don't think he's a ridiculously good receiver, but you talk about a GPP play that could score 30 points or score 5 points, he's that guy. And at $6,200, if you're playing multiple lineups, he's worth a shot for sure. Demaryius Thomas is not good. I think he has, 2 touchdowns in his last 16 games or something like that. Like, crazy. So I'm avoiding the majority of this game, to be honest with you. And like James mentioned before, I think if you play the full slate and fade Thursday, fade Monday, and maybe focus on Sunday night, I think there are going to be players or people that play Thursday to just sweat for no reason, and they're going to play Monday hoping to have some late flyer and jump up and sweat on Monday. And I think both games are terrible. So I would say that, yeah, Chiefs are $3,500. I was going to say the Chiefs D looks decent, but $3,500, I think there's better plays on the board.
Yeah. James, what are your thoughts on Monday night?
I want nothing. Those are my thoughts.
I don't mind Smith or Hill or Kelsey even, but I totally agree. Like I was telling Bucks before you came on, James, is I play Thursday through Monday lineups every week, and I had one that was Sunday main slate only, and it got me close to 200 points. It had nothing to do with Thursday, nothing to do with Sunday night, nothing to do with Monday, and the ownership levels were ridiculous. So there's a lot to be said to that idea. I have no problem with that philosophy at all. All right, let's talk about a couple busts and core players and everything. Let's go around the horn. We go Bucks, then James, and then myself. Buck, start us off with a bust.
That's a good call. I think a bust for me this week is going to be Matt Ryan again. And I think just from an ownership and price perspective, Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that was the one I was thinking. What about you, James?
Yeah, I think we're all on Dak Prescott as a bust here at 7,300. It's just an egregious price tag for him. So Dak Prescott, obviously, I'm going to say the Saints offense as my bust. I don't think that it's going to perform up to expectation. And then at tight end, I'm going to say Jordan Reed as a bust because I agree with Bucks that he's going to get a bunch of ownership this week at 4,700, and I just don't Dallas usually owns him. So I'm sure that Levitan will tweet about it, that he's only had 3 touchdowns in his career against Dallas or something like that. So I think that Jordan Reed is a bust.
Yes.
Yeah, my bust outside of Dak, I'm going Julio Jones. I think Atlanta's still broken and will not figure it out this weekend with the best defense on the slate, the New York Jets. Just kidding. What are your core plays, Bucks?
My core plays in the main slate are going to be Tyrod Taylor. Another core play for me is going to be Shady, LeGarrette Blount, and then likely Deontay Thompson.
What about you, James?
My core plays this week are going to be LeGarrette Blount, Keenan Allen, Martavis Bryant, the Bears defense, and Antonio Brown. Steelers are my core, basically.
I'm going Tyrod, Gordon and McCoy, at least one in every lineup. Baldwin and Allen, and then I like Witten a lot at tight end if you're paying above 4K. I think he's a great play. Back-to-back near 15-plus point weeks and should get to eat again. I want to try something real quick just to make it interesting. Just quick hits, one-word answers. There's 4 guys in 7K and above. You got Brady, Prescott, Wentz, and Breeze. Bucks, who would you take out of those 4? Just one guy.
Brady.
What about you, James?
Brady.
Okay, that's too ridiculously easy. What about Newton, Wilson, Rivers, Winston, Ben?
Oof.
Ben for full slate. Wilson for main slate.
What about you, James?
Newton.
All right. If you had to pick between Le'Veon Bell or Ezekiel Elliott, Bucks.
Fucking Bell all day.
James.
Lev Bell.
Okay. Figured that was easy. I had to ask, though. Let's go down to the mid here just to give people an idea. Because we mentioned so many guys, I kind of want to differentiate just a little bit here. Actually, the mid sucks. How about you go with your Chris Thompson or LeGarrette Blount?
Oh, I am going Blunt just for TD upside.
James?
That's harder. Chris Thompson, upside.
Okay, let's do a couple receivers and then we'll get out of here. Keenan Allen or Doug Baldwin?
I'm going Keenan Allen. I know James is too. You can make a case for both of them, though. They're the same guy.
And one's $100 cheap.
I'm going to go Baldwin because they're the same guy and Baldwin's $1,000 cheaper.
Yeah, well, yeah.
All right. Last one we'll do here to make it a little more interesting. Devin Funchess or Nelson Aguilar?
Funchess. Just for ownership.
Aguilar.
Yeah, I like Aguilar too. All right, Bucks, who is your defense below 2,500 for the bet with James?
I mentioned the Patriots, so I got to go Patriots.
I'm going to go with the Jets, Jets.
Yeah.
God, that hurts to say. That really does. That is horrible. But all right, that is in the books. Week 8 in the books. 13 game slates, all covered. Any final words, Bucks?
Yeah, let's go Redskins. Beat up on them Cowboys. I think their season relies on this game. But other than that, I just want a sweat this week. I was out of pocket this weekend, thank God, because I didn't win any money. And so I want to sweat this week.
Anything, James?
Martavis Bryant, 6 for 150 and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, that's right. Bold predictions. Do you have a bold prediction, Bucks?
Bold prediction. Dotson over 100 and 2 touchdowns.
Wow. That's extremely bold. I don't know how bold this is, but I'm going to say Tyrod has at least 3 total touchdowns this weekend. I don't know if that's that bold, but I know he gets sniped a lot. So I'm going with 3 total touchdowns, either rushing or passing, from Tyrod this weekend. I love him.
I have one last question for you guys.
Yeah.
In my flex spot, I got $6,800 left. Here, I'm just gonna name the top 4 guys: Cooks, Howard, Kelsey, Jeffrey.
Howard.
Cooks.
Ooh.
No faith in him.
Ooh.
I just love that workload. You give me a running back that gets that workload, I'm in.
Yeah.
But
right.
you can't even hate on Kelsey though. He's gonna eat that whole game. But I know you hate that game. But all right, let's wrap this bad boy up. You can find Bucks on Twitter at BPSnow11. James is at paydirt_DFS. I am at BDentric. This was a 2-point conversion NFL DFS pod, your Week 8 edition. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, Bubba.